Well, hello, everybody. I see we have some Zelda fans in the audience here. All right, who here likes 3D games the best? Okay, I was expecting like way bigger. Who here likes 2D games the best? Wow, okay. Well, welcome. We are Zelda Universe. We are here for the 2D versus 3D showdown. Now, for the sake of today's panel, all top-down games are going to be considered 2D. I didn't want to call it a top-down, throwdown, showdown, because that's going to attract the wrong kind of audience, or the right kind, depending on who you're asking. So, we're just going to go down the list, and we're going to introduce ourselves. Half of us are representing Team 2D. Half of us are representing Team 3D, and then so we're going to give our arguments as to which one is better, and then we're going to open it up to you guys. We're also going to throw in a few trivia questions. We have some really cool prizes. My nephew here is going to be handing those out for us. Thank you. Who's your favorite aunt? It's me. All right, so we've got mics there and there for when we get to the audience participation part, and we'll go ahead and get started because y'all didn't come here to just listen to me talk. However, I am Amanda Van Hyle. I'm the YouTube director. I basically show up anywhere that we start talking about Zelda. I just show up. We're going to go down this way.
I'm her husband. I'm the nepotism hire. See, that always gets a laugh.
Hello, my name is Connor Schultz. I am the manager and host of the Zelda Universe podcast.
We're the old people representing Team 2D.
Get off my lawn!
My name is
But
Mary.
cut it first. I'll give you a rupee.
We will be giving our arguments like this the entire time.
Oh, good Lord.
Hello, my name is Mary. I am the social media director for Zelda Universe.
Hello, my name is Elias Thompson, and I am head of live content.
And hi, I am Jess Rappaport. I am the owner of Zelda Universe.
All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to go me, then Mary, then Dan, then Elias, then Connor, then Jess. We're just going to go back and forth as to our argument. So I'm going to start off repping Team 2D here. So this is why I think it is the best. 2D has the most animals. We've got kangaroos. I think kangaroos. Where's my little bullet points? You know what? I don't have to have bullet points. We've got kangaroos in the Oracle games. We've got the crocodile in Link's Awakening. We have a mermaid. We have all sorts of cute little cuddly creatures in Team 2D. So that is why I say 2D games are the best.
So I'm going to say that Team 3D is the best because the music, the style, the art, the story, Skyward Sword specifically, the love of my life. All right, Dan. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, back to me.
Yes.
And I should turn that on. Yes. I'm going to go very old school, and it's one of those.
I don't think they can see your picture from here.
Well, there you can see I'm writing with my left hand. Link is left-handed in all of the 2D games. Thank you very much.
And Skyward Sword.
And Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild
and Tears of the Kingdom. They switched him.
Yep.
Okay, my turn.
I missed it.
Mary said like 5 things, so I'm going to say 2 things. It's the fact that you can be both left or right-handed in 3D games. And then what I was going to say before Dan came up with that was, never mind, I forgot. We'll go with that.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I came into this thinking we were going to go full debate club, so I'm going to be careful, or I'm going to be giving a full-on opening statement. First and foremost, everything that people love about the 3D games, the story, the emotion, the cinematics, you get those in the 2D games. Secondly, yes, those are passionate, they're emotion-filled, but if you want a game with challenge and progression and difficulty, you go to the 2D games, legitimate puzzles, puzzles that span the entire dungeons, more challenging enemies. This series started with 2D, it has continued with 2D, and our latest installment coming out in a month, that the demo is over in the other building. 2D.
Perfect.
We have writer bias here.
It's not a wrong summary. Yeah.
All right, Jess.
Okay, for me, real answer is that I think you just can't beat the immersion of 3D. You can't. Like, when you play Wind Waker and you see where Link looks, you're not gonna get that in A Link to the Past. I'm sorry, you're just not. Like, they're not gonna do that. I will say, though, the Echoes of Wisdom demo is kind of actually selling me on 2D Zelda gameplay. For the first time, it's kind of doing it.
Don't change teams now.
I'm not changing
Thank you very
teams.
much. Appreciate that.
Well,
I think you just created an argument for Team 2D that
But-
it creates more fans.
But
Okay,
3D is still, 3D is top, though. 3D is top.
all the new fans that came with Breath of the Wild. Just saying.
And now they get to find out the better.
We're going to talk later.
All right. So as you can see, things got a little passionate up here, and we want to see that from you guys as well. So we've got a mic on either side for you all to go on ahead and start lining up. We want to hear your arguments, and we will go on ahead and add them to them. Now, we want to get as many arguments in as possible from all of you, so let's not do giant, unending monologues. Give one or two statements as to why. All right, we're ready when you guys are.
Do we want to have them do like 2D on one side, 3D on the other?
You know what? Just line it up.
All right,
Gonna
it's
get
free
that
for all.
organized.
Bad for the
All right,
2D person.
3D on the
Yeah,
good side,
otherwise
2D
they'd
on
have
the
to
bad
start going
side.
all the way across.
Yeah, just pick whichever side's closer to you.
All right.
Though really, if you decide to like sort yourselves automatically, that would be pretty impressive.
You can just look at a side and be like, I
It's a
bet they're
hidden
the
puzzle
2D
game
people.
in our panel.
We said there'd be prizes, right?
That's true. All right, we're gonna start over here with my awesome friend Tris.
Ahoy!
Excited to see you.
I'm excited. So I will have to say, you guys just kind of made me realize something when you mentioned Echoes of Wisdom. First off, Team 3D, and it's the fact that we now have a 2D Zelda that's learning from a 3D Zelda.
Yeah. People have said that in the past. That's like, 2D Zelda, 3D just always learned from 2D. But no, now
it's the
2D
other
learns
way.
from 3D. 3D is the king, the true king. Who learns from who now?
Awesome. I like that argument.
That is legit a good argument.
I would like some clarification on that, actually.
What?
Well, he already sat down.
Well,
Oh, wait,
not
no.
necessarily
He's going
from
back,
you.
he's
You
going
don't have to
back.
come up. I'm curious in elaboration. How is it learning from 3D?
It's many Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, it even has the little,
I just
like-
want it spelled out.
So-
That's all.
Yeah.
So
It
here's
does
no
do that
ambiguity.
scene.
It's specifically because it's taking a lot of ideas and elements that were brought about from Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, introducing those.
All right.
There's what is what Nintendo calls it. Their whole core philosophy of it's multiplicative gameplay, duplicative gameplay. It's actually like a directive that they have when they're designing Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, that puzzles have to be able to be solved in multiple ways creatively. So this is the first time that they're taking that philosophy and applying it directly to a 2D Zelda game.
Yeah,
you
but
just-
how many Koroks can you torture in Echoes of Wisdom?
We don't know yet.
And
I
can
think
you
that's a
torture them
valid
in multiple
argument.
ways?
Oh my god.
Multiplicative.
Okay, I guess this side?
Yeah.
One argument pretty hard for 3D, Epona. There is no mount anywhere in the 2D ones that I'm aware
Oh,
of.
we're about
Echoes
to
of
get them though
Wisdom.
in Echoes of Wisdom.
Echoes of Wisdom adds horse.
Your
Horse
argument
Swords
is
Adventures
invalid.
also had a horse.
3D has more horse.
It's a really good thing we didn't name this top-down showdown.
We also had 3 mounts in 2 different games. We had Ricky. We we had Dimitri.
Is this
We
a
have
pro
a-
for your side or
I'm
a
just
con?
saying, we have a bear, we have a kangaroo, we have a.
Hey, and if you, and if
You
you
wanted
count,
mounts, we got mounts.
if you count certain games, we have a flying carpet.
Hey.
Oh, that's a deep cut for most of you. Yeah. Let's leave it that way.
Never. All right.
So I just want to preface that I'm for Team 3D specifically because I grew up with Wind Waker. But the one thing, yeah, I know, right? The one thing that I want to bring attention to is that while I love the 2D games, overall, especially Minish Cap, but the one thing that the 3D games have beat out is the connection to the player because it tries to make you truly be put in the situation of Link rather than just, play, dungeon crawling game with some story elements. It's more of you feel more, I wouldn't say just immersion. I would say like a true connection between the world you're saving and also the characters that you're, defending. Yeah.
It's an excellent point. I remember playing Twilight Princess for the first time, and whenever you have to go and save Midna, it's like the atmosphere, the music, oh my gosh, is everything going to be okay? And you're not sure at that point. And I was rushed, I was panicked. I was like, I have to help save her right now.
Yeah, to tack onto that, it feels like you're playing, because of the perspective most of the time, you're playing as a companion that's with Link, or that's where your perspective is, as opposed to just a god from above who's just puppet stringing the 2D,
I didn't know you were so interested in being Midna.
That's not what I said. Horses.
I think it goes back to that immersion and the fact that you can have so much more detail in the world that you can see and you can look around in the same way that you look around with your eyes normally. So it feels like it's from the perspective of a person who's actually experiencing everything alongside of Link. So you get that extra level of immersion and world building.
All right.
Though I started off with Team 2D growing up, falling in love with the original, I'm staunchly Team 3D for the fact that you can have an Animorph fantasy with turning into a wolf. And that will forever keep me in 3D.
In the best.
So is this for 3D or just for Twilight Princess?
Well,
Hey, the best of the best. Can we point out that
I've been
everyone
coming
here
around.
has been saying 3D, by the way?
I've been genuinely coming around to Twilight Princess as peak Zelda. This is I love Wind Waker. Wind Waker is my all-time, but Twilight Princess might be better.
Well, something she said about it makes me wonder, have they done a fake Animorph book cover of Link going into...
I'm sure someone
I'm
has
pretty
somewhere.
sure I've seen fan art of that somewhere.
I'm sure somebody will hold up a picture of it on their phone before the end is out.
Yep. All right, this side.
All right, so I am specifically, in part, responding to the notion that the 2D are learning from the 3D games. I think it's the other way around. Will argue that Breath of the Wild and then subsequently Tears of the Kingdom broke the mold of the kind of repetitive structure of the 3D games prior, established in Ocarina of Time, which are you play through a dungeon, halfway through the dungeon, you get your special item, which is basically a key. That is the item that unlocks the puzzles for the rest of the dungeon, and is probably the boss's week to rinse and repeat. And is made, I think, most notable in Twilight Princess, which has the ball and chain and the spinner are the two items that are just you get them once, you solve their respective puzzles, and then you barely look at them again.
I love those items.
I love them.
They're fun in their boxes,
Spinner.
but they're not versatile.
Spinner go spinny.
But with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, similar, same concept, gets really back to the established pattern of heavily in Zelda 1, which Zelda 1 was largely an open world game. There's not a strict enforced dungeon order. There's a few things. There's a raft in one dungeon that unlocks level 5, and then the ladder in one is required for some later puzzles, but you don't have to go one-to-one. Usually the items are helpful, but not necessary. You might miss say, the magic wand entirely, but that's okay. The magic wand isn't required. It's just something that, hey, if you have the skill to find it, makes your game better, a little more interesting.
So which team are you?
Team 2D
Okay.
is what I'm saying. I am Team 2D. That
Trying to figure out
the
whether or not he could
original
argue
model
with
is just a bit better, and the strength of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which I would argue actually are to the point where they're almost their own category compared to the other 3D games. But I think their strength comes from a lot of return to form and kind of the overworld and general design philosophy that you see in Zelda 1, and to a lesser extent, too, you see some in A Link to the Past.
Yeah, I would agree that this whole learning from thing, that happens with games just over time, regardless of the form. The 2D learns from 3D and the 3D learns from 2D. The reason 3D is better is because 3D learns the same lessons and just executes them in a better way. In my opinion.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and go into our first trivia question. So let me slide that over.
I hope you guys are smart.
Well, we brought this up earlier. Hunter, if you will hold up the book that we are using for a prize, we've got the Hyrule Warriors first game, player's guide, hardcover, still in plastic. Question is, in Link, Faces of Evil, what is Gwonum's signature catchphrase?
Who is that?
I do not actually know.
I saw the green wig hand first.
There you go.
There
Come
he
on
is.
up here, get the prize.
Oh, that guy's name is Gwonum.
Oh, it's that guy.
Somebody keep his spot
Oh,
in
I'm
line.
so glad you guys are smarter than me.
Yeah.
All right.
I sure could go for some dodongos.
I'll grab my stuff.
Sure is boring around here.
It's a good argument for 3D that they don't have CDI games, by the way. I think it's your turn.
Yes.
See, they did learn.
Okay, so I haven't played all the games, so I'm not sure if what I'm saying is entirely accurate, but I'm pretty sure in none of the 2D games are we constantly harassed by the words, "Hey, listen"?
So wait, what team are you on?
It's usually in text, yeah.
Team 2D? Yeah, well.
I mean, the
I don't know,
the
there's-
only
there's
2D
try and
companion we
echoes
have
of
thus
wisdom.
far is a cranky old hat.
Yeah,
So, and Eslo's great.
And
That's right.
we are getting, what was it? What was its
getting
name?
Try.
Try.
Try is adorable. by
Try
the
is
way.
adorable. Try is much shinier than I thought she was.
I'm for Team 3D for what y'all brought up before. The scene of saving Midna's Lament. It draws you in with all like just the music and the composition of just the somber, sad tones. Like I was saying, is she going to survive? You need to make it to Hyrule Castle. Save her, and that just what kind of makes like 3D Zelda like beautiful, like Zelda being a work of art.
Yeah, Twilight Princess is my favorite Zelda game entirely. Yeah, the two people. Yeah, you're right. And yeah, I've played that game I don't know how many times now, and every time that part happens, like, yes, when I play Zelda games, I like to explore at any given time. Not then. Nope. You could go different places, but you're not thinking about that. You're just trying to beeline as soon as possible because you're so in that moment, usually.
3D Zelda games, they just go so much harder than the 2D Zelda games, that they really lean into these big cinematic moments in a way that you can't with 2D games in general.
Spirit Zelda, finding out that her body is about to be possessed by the Demon Lord.
Oh, he went.
That scene is amazing.
He went.
Didn't they have to
Spirit
cut
tracks
to
on you.
3D perspective?
It's a 2D game.
Which game?
Like I said, you want immersion, you can have immersion.
Yeah.
Even
All you
in
need are
2D.
I don't know
If
cutscene.
you can have
It's not
immersion
my
in 2D
fault you
games,
need
Not
dramatic
playable.
music to feel the emotion of a moment.
if you can have immersion in 2D games, why don't they start putting it in them?
They're called cutscenes.
Have you played Link?
Anyway.
There you go.
Okay, so for Team 3D, part of the thing that I really love about Breath of the Wild is how dynamic and customizable Link is in the game for some diverse experiences in play. And one thing in particular I think could draw a huge crowd is the fact that you are given so many cross-dress options and feminine-esque features. So
Hell yeah.
I praise Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for being progressive as it is for some of the wider crowds out there. And that's where I'm going to leave it at.
Well, I'm going to argue in favor of 2D, but that's kind of hard to top. So for me, I'm going to say that I grew up way more with 2D than 3D. And One of the things I noticed is that with the exception of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which I get is a pretty big exception, I felt like a lot of the 2D games, especially the first 3, you had a lot more choice in which dungeon order you wanted to do things, and I liked that replayability, making it different. I do understand an open world game can definitely add that a lot, but I remember whenever I played through Skyward Sword and whenever I played through, whenever I watched the Let's Plays of like Wind Waker and such, it felt like there was sort of a one way, one path to go, this is the dungeon you must do, this is the dungeon you must do. Whereas Zelda 1, you could, I think, do dungeons 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 if you're a madman and want to do that. And I like that flexibility personally with the 2D games that the original several great 3D games just did not give us. So.
Thank you.
See, I need to know if Team 2D is allowed to exclude Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom
No.
when they talk about
No,
it.
that's our-
That's
is
fine.
That, is
Breath
that
of the-
legal?
Breath of the Wild
Is that
doesn't
legal?
have
That's a
dungeons
3D game.
anyway.
Those are 3D
I
games.
don't need to.
Just because they're better.
Team 2D for life, and I'll tell you why.
Yes.
There's one very important reason. This is what makes Zelda different from every other game out there, all right? You can find lots of games where people have a sword, they're killing monsters, they're solving puzzles, they're talking to people, all the other things you do in Zelda, except in Zelda, they did it without a jump button, and 3D ruined that, 2D forever. I'm done.
Whoa.
And let me just
So
let
is
me
the
just
reason there
add,
just bitterness
I
about
am
jumping?
error.
But in Echoes of Wisdom, they added a jump button.
Oh, well, yeah, hang on, yeah. Where Rock's cape, Minish cap, and yeah.
Those are technically
That's
items.
a jump, though. You press a button.
Yeah. It's still
but
an
you have to
item.
specifically assign it. It's
2D
not a
did that
designated
first.
jump button.
You can't start off jumping.
Yeah, you have to unlock jump.
You have to earn
Jumping
the
is an
ability.
item.
Like it's Portal 2 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and Portal 2 was a great game. So
Not that
what's your
part.
argument?
Nobody mentioned Adventures of Link. Nobody. No, shh.
2D, because cereal. They had better cereal.
That's right.
Showing my age.
Oh no, you.
Delicious.
I am. The thing is that I just thought of a counter argument, but I'm going to shut up, just in case.
Stop fighting for the other side.
Does only 3D Mario get cereal?
I don't know
We're not
what
talking
cereal
about
we're
Mario.
talking about.
I know, but 3D Mario gets
Is
cereal.
there
Why
Zelda
doesn't 3D
cereal
Zelda
like
get
I should be
cereal?
eating? I don't know.
And 2D Mario gets cereal. I want cereal for our team.
Okay, well, why don't you message Nintendo and say, hey, Nintendo, we need some cereal.
It's worth
done it.
Okay,
I've
wait,
already
we
done
got
it. It's already
cereal,
been
we
done.
got gummy candies. We got.
This is one heck of a tangent. We might
Yeah.
probably want to.
Let's table cereal.
I like making big robots. Can't do that in 2D.
Valid.
Making big robots.
I have no response to that.
That's a fair point.
Team 2D's like, yep, no, he's right.
Fair enough.
I'm not going to mention what kind of robots I've seen.
Oh my gosh, I just saw one. It was a video of somebody that made a bokoblin spanker. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's on Instagram somewhere.
Okay, I have to shout out the Zeldathon team for doing the rocket and putting all the Koroks in the rocket and launching it, and then just all the Koroks falling. Did you see that?
What is wrong with you people
Everyone
and
go to
torturing
Zeldathon and look at
Koroks?
it.
Do you have no souls?
Personally, I like the time that Laughing Boy and I here, we put what was it we put on the horse, and then we sent it into a Hinox, and we put a time bomb on it, and then
Wait, a horse?
we did it to a horse.
The horse? Okay. Anyway, we're tabling this conversation now.
But it was funny.
You could bring them back.
It's called dark humor.
Speaking of questions.
Yeah, that horse died.
Did you just take the mic from a child to say that?
Yeah, and I'm on Team 3.
Okay, sit down. We don't claim him.
Hi.
We have a mole.
I think the 3D games are better because it feels like more of a world than the 2D games. Because you can look around, see all the greenery. But in like the first Zelda game, there's this shrub. Another shrub.
There's one type of shrub, and that is it.
So that's so well
Hey, there are
put.
two. There's a green one and there's a brown one.
Yeah. It's the same shrub, but
That's a good argument.
It does kind of go. The second thing I was originally going to say that I forgot was the sense of atmosphere in the 3D games for sure. It's just probably a side effect of the medium, but it just it feels like you're in it more.
So I'm for 3D because I like the combat a lot better. In the 3D games, you're dodging, and in Twilight Princess, you get all those like fancy skill moves. In Wind Waker, you get all the like dodge windows. And in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you have things like parries and flurry rushes, and you just can't do that in 2D.
Minish Cap. We had Tiger Scrolls and Techniques in Minish Cap.
They just listed like 3 different games with awesome combat, and your response was Minish Cap.
I'm just saying. 2D has everything 3D has.
I honestly can't argue with that one.
2 whole types of bushes.
Hello.
I'm Team 3D, but I'm going to betray my own kind. Name me a 3D Zelda game they can play in full co-op.
Oh.
We love four swords.
Four
Okay.
We
swords.
love four swords.
Twilight Princess Online.
What?
It's a mod. You can do it up to like
mod?
up to
Mod.
like 50 up to
Man,
like
the
50
Nintendo
links.
ninjas won't go after you
Everyone
for.
playing Twilight Princess. It exists.
I appreciate all of your honor in this debate.
Hi. Right side.
My argument was just taken. Heroes messing up.
Okay.
Triforce Heroes, yes.
That is a game that
And they did it
exists.
first.
Mm-hmm.
I love that cheerleader outfit. It's adorable.
Can I just say another pro Team 3D has is that we have actual bullet points on our side?
Because they disappeared and I wasn't about to like go. My hands shake, so I have a hard time like clicking on things and yeah.
In 3D games, you can take selfies.
Yeah.
Is that an argument for 3D?
Sorry.
We're going to count it.
It's better.
That's right. Link's Awakening DX had it, but years
Did
before
have-
Wind Waker.
And we could also print them out.
Yeah, we did.
With an extra
You can print out screenshots on your Switch.
Not you didn't have a special printer that hooked up to it.
Exactly.
But the special printer is part of the fun.
Okay.
That special printer was made by Nintendo. That
And
was
it was a
official.
sticker.
Next comment?
Hi. So I actually grew up with the original Legend of Zelda and absolutely loved it, but I'm actually arguing for 3D here and responding to one of the earlier points about 3D learning from 2D, which is that if you look at what Miyamoto says about the original Zelda, he really wanted to emulate the feel of growing up and exploring the countryside. And no game does that better than Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It was really a realization of Miyamoto's vision for the first game, and it felt real, and there's just so much more of that magical exploration feel in 3D than in 2D.
I agree.
I'm for Team 3D. I think we have better cutscenes. You can get across a lot more emotion through like 3D animation. I say this mainly because of Skyward Sword, and as like a wee child crying for like hours after Fi died. So.
Fi did not die. Don't you dare.
But like,
Don't
she
you
basically
dare.
died. She basically died. It's, yeah.
Just in hibernate.
Live in the sword,
This
die in the sword.
blasphemy I am hearing from this
Also-
microphone.
I was gonna say also the I'll always be your Zelda.
Yes.
That one does hit pretty hard. However, 2D has that sweet little Disney princess moment with Marin
Oh my gosh, Marin, please.
singing with all the animals because, again, 2D has all the cute little animals.
2D has the most underrated musical pieces. Oh my gosh.
I like
think
you.
2D doesn't crash. I mean, 3D crashes.
That's the best argument so far I've heard for 2D.
Can we forego the next trivia question and just give him something? Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
That was
I'm actually fine
incredible.
with that.
That was incredible.
All right. Sweetheart, come here. Whoever that just said doesn't crash. Come here.
You won
You won the next
You
trivia question
won
because
the
you made
trivia
her pay.
question.
Get the link plushie out.
He's not coming up. Okay, we'll,
Okay.
we'll bring it to
Hunter,
you.
can you bring it to him? Okay.
Oh, there he is. He's coming. He's coming.
Okay.
Here it comes.
What are you talking about? I'm just spitting facts over here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I feel like the winner of comedic timing and one-line answers definitely goes over any trivia question I could ever come up with.
I wish you well in trying to follow that.
I mean, he's got a career ahead of him.
Yeah.
I'm also Team 2D. A Link to the Past is the best Zelda game, and it's also one of the best games ever created. You wouldn't have any of your tropes in Zelda if it wasn't for A Link to the Past. If you want to talk about dramatic cutscenes and feeling emotionally invested, oh, Midna, when you draw the sword, when you draw the Master Sword out, and you just hear
Phrasing.
just the air just
Oh my gosh,
swirling
that was
around
wonderful,
you,
thank
and
you.
Sahasrara contacts you, and he's like, "You actually did it! You pulled the Master Sword!" You're like, "Oh my God, I am the hero!" You do that in all the other games, but A Link to the Past did it first.
And did it best.
And did it best. And they don't crash.
It definitely did it first, but pulling the Master Sword in Twilight Princess is definitely a better version of that moment. And you don't have Sahasrara, oh, hey, you did it, you know, whatever you said about Midna.
I'm Team 3D because in Tears of the Kingdom there are 3 maps, and there's also just so many side quests, shrine quests, memories. There's just so much to do.
And I'm still burnt out.
Very good.
There is a lot of content in the
Yes,
3D games, for
There's
sure.
a lot.
What's great about it is you can just go from level to level. If you get sick of being underground, you just zip your way. Oh, I'm arguing for the wrong team. Sorry.
You did it again.
I'm going to have to start a new page.
Good job, guys.
All right.
Hi, Team 3D, and I'm surprised no one's really brought this up yet. And I'm going to hold everyone's hand as I say this, minus Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. 3D has better dungeons, better temples in terms of atmosphere, puzzles, and just overall theme. I have trouble remembering a lot of the 2D dungeons and temples, whereas with 3D, like, they pop up in my head instantly, like Ancient Cistern, the Forest Temple, Ocarina of Time, like, those are unforgettable.
I think, was it you, Connor, who brought this up in favor of 2D? That they had good dungeons, but I definitely agree that the 3D dungeons, I think because you're more immersed in the game, you remember them more and they feel more natural and as you go through, and you know, just better design. But I definitely think
You're looking at better atmosphere, but better atmosphere does not necessarily make it a better dungeon. If you're looking for a better
it's a
game,
factor, for
if you're looking
sure.
for a better gaming experience, you go 2D. Because the entire thing, when it comes to the dungeons in 3D, you're basically looking at the same 3 or 4 options. Press a switch, light a torch, kill some enemies. When it comes to 2-dimensional, they expand that. You have dungeon-wide puzzles.
That's literally what you do in 2D dungeons too. And atmosphere does not equal dungeon design, but it is a factor, one that 3D has over 2D for sure.
Good luck mapping a 3D dungeon.
Oh, that's right. You can't really map a 3D dungeon.
They have literal dungeon maps.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
don't
there's
get the nice
definitely-
little graph
there's
paper.
definitely
Like nobody
dungeon
paints
maps.
graph paper on a 3D dungeon and draws it
Water
out.
temple.
Next comment.
I'm for Team 3D because I
I love cooking, and when I just look at the food, it just looks so realistic, and it just makes me hungry immediately. I'm like, I want
Yeah.
that omelet.
This was
What's
the
your favorite
Cooking
recipe
argument
in
I
it?
was waiting for.
Well, I guess I like the simple omelet.
The simple omelet.
Oh.
Good choice. It's a very good choice.
I'm a pizza fan myself.
The fact that they made pizza was just inspired.
I still want to know where those tomatoes came from. Like, the uprising happened, and all of a sudden, like, we've got tomatoes?
Apparently, tomatoes are poisonous. Didn't you listen to your medieval history?
Ganondorf tomatoes.
No.
Gloom tomate.
Yeah, I really appreciated that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom were very good at representing my own style of cooking by having dubious food in the games as well.
You don't cook.
Exactly.
Hi.
Hello. I'm going to do a bit of a double team.
Allowed.
Okay, cool. 2D games have better NPCs. You can relate to a lot of the side characters and the quest givers and that, but in 3D games, you have a stronger supporting cast and delicious villains. Who doesn't love Ganondorf? You know, he appears everywhere.
He shows up a lot.
All right.
I'm going to take the opposite approach and say I love them both, but I will say that I presented both a 2D game and a 3D Zelda game, Breath of the Wild and Link's Awakening, to my daughter, and one she's played 40 hours, and the other one she's played 1 hour. So 3D wins.
I was hoping that was a split.
In 3D games, you get tingle.
Yes.
That is a strong argument.
Tingles in 2D games too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you played Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land? I highly recommend it.
That's not a Zelda game.
Oracle of Ages, and also Four Swords Adventures.
he an
He's also in
Oracle
those
again?
games.
Is he?
Yes.
I
He
know
is
he's a
a
Minish Cap.
bane on your existence in Four Swords Adventures.
No,
because
he's a plague
stealing
on
all your
both of
Force
these games,
gems.
for
Personally, I say the lack of tingle is what makes 2D better.
Was Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land a 3D or a 2D?
It would.
It's
I mean,
not-
it was
it's
a
not a Zelda.
handheld.
It's something we don't talk about.
That's why I don't know. That's why I had to ask.
It doesn't have Zelda in the title.
All right.
All right, so I'm Team 3D. So everyone loves a good bow and a good hook shot, right? You're not thinking of the 2D versions of those items. You're thinking of the 3D versions right now. They're way more fun to use. And before anyone says you just shoot eyeballs, you know you get a serotonin boost every time you do it.
How satisfying the double claw shots are whenever you're just...
Yeah.
Personally, I really like the way Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass uses the bow. That tap aim is the smoothest operation for bow and arrow in the series, in my opinion.
Look, you just don't get Link's crossbow training in 2D.
How many of you actually have played Link's crossbow training? Good job!
I have actually not
You
played
had to
it.
ask this audience that, didn't you?
Okay.
Best Zelda game.
Hi, I'm Team 3D, and I'd say this kind of has to do with the point of immersion and world building, but you can definitely see the progression of time a lot more within the world throughout the story, such as Majora's Mask. You can really see the impending fear of that, and within each of the stories, you can see it in both dramatic senses in the game as well as through the day-to-day cycle of Majora's Mask.
That's a very good one.
That's a good point.
Yes.
Do any of you remember the marketing campaign that they did for Majora's Mask back in 2000? Yes, somebody else gets it at least. Thank you. It, for some reason, scared me, and I don't know why. I thought there was something real involved with putting your finger on the mouse, and it was like deciding if you were the one.
Oh.
It was bad. Like, I even called my mom into the computer room to. I was like, Mom, I don't know what this
Everything
is."
about Majora's Mask was designed to terrify you.
That's
That
a
was
pro.
the idea.
That's a pro, yeah.
Yeah.
You do not make a moon like that and think, oh no, this is fine. Everyone's going to love this.
I couldn't play it
This
until
won't
I was
cause
like
any nightmares.
17 because it scared me.
Oh, no.
So I was going to kind of bring up the hookshot thing. Dual hookshots are amazing. But I will say that the addition of the third dimension, the ability to the verticality, lends itself to so many more cool and interesting game mechanics, like flight, like glide suits, things like jumping up through cliffs, something that you can't even conceive of in 2D. So I think that the 3D jump just adds a layer of depth, no pun intended, that 2D just can't replicate.
Always intend your puns.
And I think they even like tried to do that with A Link Between Worlds, is like add the depth back into 2D, and it's still just not like. Some people are like, is A Link Between Worlds?
Dude, those
3D?
dungeons are immaculate, though. Link Between Worlds dungeons are top tier. Oh my gosh.
They're pretty good. I'd also like to point out how uneven-sided this is looking so far with the 3D having all these points.
Actually, I did want to toss this in, but unless somebody else was going to say it, or are we going to save those for the end?
We've been
I was
commenting.
gonna say, so like the immersion of it, like having the 3D, you being able to see the world. There's, when it comes to gameplay, puzzle solving, mystery, not being able to see those levels, you're standing over an empty pit. You don't know if you're gonna die if you fall in there, or if you fall down to the next level. You can't see, so you have to wing it, and it's a puzzle solving mechanic.
Anyone who says that they haven't worked with verticality in the 2D games obviously have not played There's Link Between Worlds, Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages. The challenges that you have dealing with multiple levels in those dungeons is immense.
I will break the rules a little bit here. The reason you can do those in those games is because technically those are 3D games.
We already said we weren't talking about those technicalities.
Okay, but I'm thinking of like A Link to the Past, where like some of the dungeons you like have to go through like down a little hole.
Yeah, it's just a lot more limited.
Yeah, but it's
It was also in the 90s.
it's 2D though. That's why I'm saying it.
Next comment.
So as a bit of a counterpoint to the item comment from earlier, I absolutely was thinking of the 2D hookshot and bow when you mentioned them, because I think the Team 2D, by the way, the items in 2D are able to feel much more powerful because they're not limited by having to operate in a 3D space. When you've got the 3D space, you can only affect, like, your items have to adhere to physical rules or they don't make much sense. In 2D, you're able to have things that affect the whole screen, or like create effects that happen like many links from where Link currently is, where in 3D, you're sort of pinned to that physical space.
I miss Bombos. That spell was amazing.
Din's Fire.
Doesn't work the same amount of space.
It's just still a giant AoE.
All right. I am Team 2D because we actually have bearable water temples.
Oh! We have bearable water temples too.
Only because we've been playing randomizers for 5 years and we've gone through that thing an incessant amount of times.
I think it's pretty good on
I will not
3DS.
touch Suitor with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah,
All right.
2D doesn't have Jabu Jabu's belly, which means you don't have to carry Rudo all over the place.
What if I like carrying Rudo? She's a princess. She deserves princess treatment.
Okay, that's fine. I'm all for her receiving the princess treatment. It's the whole
We'll
like.
be with you in a moment.
Look, just because she's a tsundere doesn't mean that we need to be holding that against her.
Okay, but it's like, okay, so here's the thing with Jabu Jabu's belly is every single room looks exactly the same, and then you still have to fall through those holes, and then you have to remember which one to fall through. And if you have a really bad sense of direction, like I do, where like I can't get my boundaries and I can't figure out where I am, I have a hard time with it.
Thieves' Palace.
Nice.
Okay, so I've already been up here, but I kind of wanted to vouch for 2D as well. That's cool if I'm allowed to be a liberal in this show, but I just wanted to give 2D some pointers too because it's falling behind a little bit, and that I know that people love their Zelda 3D Zelda for their stories and additional to the gameplay, and we have gone through how in 2D games, you generally just get more gameplay on top of having a bit of story in there. But because of that, you get more of a video gamey experience of a video game. The action is just very fast paced and you could just kind of jump into it. Whereas opposed, if you were to play a 3D game, you also have to kind of make the commission to just kind of sit there and read a book in some cases on skippable cutscenes. And yeah, that's all I can really say. That's just it.
Thank you for your pity vote for 2D.
I'm with you there.
All right. Next.
If I wanted to play a game, I'm going to play a game. If I want to watch a movie, I'm going to watch a movie.
Like Skyward Sword? Sorry.
I mean, we'll get to watch a movie in a couple of years.
I better be in it.
For Team 3D, motion controls let you almost destroy your TV pretending that you're actually swinging a sword around.
So this is
again,
for or against?
I
mean, if I recall correctly,
I really enjoyed it when I was a kid.
with Skyward Sword in particular, the motion controls is what people complained about the most.
You still do it in the remake. Remaster.
So I think what I'm hearing is it's possible to be too immersed.
No.
No, absolutely not.
You're not hearing that, no.
The moment they make VR Zelda, I'm strapped in. I'm never leaving.
No, that's called Sword Art Online.
Okay, I shamelessly liked Sword Art Online.
I enjoyed it too.
At least like the first season.
The first season was
I enjoyed the
good.
first two.
I loved the first season.
Gun Gale Alternative. We're getting way off track. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh, it's anime?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about Zelda.
For Team 3D, I think it's better because it just has more and better enemies. Like 2D, you have to defeat them in a specific way, which is fun to fight them in a specific way. But 3D just has more enemies and they're better.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk about every 3D boss with their big old one weapon item to kill them in every single one.
I guess not.
I mean,
Do you know about 2D bosses?
I don't know. I think I walked up to Aquamentus today and I just jammed A until the dragon disappeared.
Well, good
I
on
think
you
that
for
was a
playing
2D
the
boss.
original 2D Zelda.
Yeah, so for 2D though, like the sprite work in some of those games are absolutely incredible. Like Minish Cap has some of the best sprite work in all of gaming, and like it's just such an intricate, well done, like just beautiful piece that like you see it referenced in so many other games. Like it's left like it's a legacy across all of gaming because of how distinct and iconic and detailed it is. And I feel like 3D, even with all the high fidelity visuals and all the different stylistic, there's just something that hits so good about like amazing sprite work that's just so clean and so good.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing about sprite work is it holds up over time, whereas you go and you play a 3D game that's been out like just one generation prior to what you're currently playing, it just doesn't really hold up as well. As much as I love the Nintendo 64, you go back and you play it and you're like, oh, I remember when this was the greatest. Because now everything is like a bunch of triangles.
Okay, like I know I'm supposed to be Team 3D, but if they brought back like a Minish Cap style, but like an HD Minish Cap.
So a 2D
sprite
game,
based-
got it, okay.
Yeah, but like that, okay, yeah, I would go for that, yeah.
Debate aside, they should have made more Zelda games on the Game Boy Advance. Minish Cap.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I'm Team 2D, and that's mainly because from a standpoint where I used to work 50 to 60 hours a week, the ability to come and play a game that didn't have big storylines, where I could just be brain numb and just play a game, was very, very helpful.
This is very real. Thank you.
2D is really catching up here.
Team 2D for two specific reasons. One, how many 3D Zelda games have inspired other random dungeon builder games? Secondly,
including
how many 2D Zelda games have DLC and need system updates?
Oh.
This is kind of related to the crash.
And don't crash.
thing. Yeah, there's not a lot of in-game purchasing in 2D.
I'm trying to think if there's been any DLC for a 2D game. I don't think there has.
I don't think so.
No, there hasn't.
yeah.
There hasn't.
Maybe in the next one.
Echoes of Wisdom
Well,
DLC.
I guess Link's Awakening DX could be considered like a then version of DLC. Extra dungeon and stuff. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I guess you could consider Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild DLC.
Well, originally it was going to be.
No.
So we keep giving plaudits to 3D games for immersion, but only Link's Awakening managed to make something true outside of the game. Spoilers for a 30-year-old game, but
How dare you?
when you you destroy the island, and then all you have are memories, and then you turn the game off, and all you have are memories.
Meta.
Mind blown.
Hold on, I gotta go over to our shower thoughts.
We are going to do another trivia question real quick. Hunter, if you will hold up the prize for this next one. So we are going to go with...
Can I just steal it?
Zelda plushie. It is a plushie.
Here we go.
Which version of Zelda is that?
Wind Waker, or Toon Zelda, whatever you want to call her. All right, so the question, in Tears of the Kingdom, we meet Sidon's delightful fiance. What is her name? Yes. Yeah. Very good. Come on up here.
Oh, I thought it was Amanda.
No, that's me.
Wait, what's her name?
Aren't you
All right,
someone's
for
fiance?
bonus,
That's kind of what we figured.
Yeah. Good job.
for bonus points, is it spelled with an F or a PH?
What are you talking about?
Oh, I work with somebody who spells it with a PH.
It spells Sidon with a PH?
No, it spells Fiona with a PH.
It's Yona.
Yona.
I was trying to
Oh,
figure out what you...
Fiona.
I thought you were
Okay,
talking about
so
fiance.
I would have
Shrek.
totally lost this.
You were
I would have
thinking
totally
about
lost this
Shrek, and
trivia
I don't know
game
how
then,
you got
so-
there.
Well, so
Okay.
I thought you were saying like fiance with a PH. I'm like, who spells fiance with a PH?
Okay,
Also-
we have about 9 minutes left.
Also,
so-
Jess,
Does
I think
anybody
you were
have
actually
that-
thinking
does anybody
about
have anything
Slippy's
else that could
girlfriend.
Sling at me. Come on.
Slippy's girlfriend was named Amanda. So maybe
I was
that's what...
thinking of you.
Oh, okay, well, we'll take that too. I thought you were like, okay, sorry.
All right.
I'm a little slow some days.
I think, are we over here?
Where are we? Yeah.
We're
We're on
over on the
side.
left.
Okay, let's go back to that side.
All right, I am Team 3D, and the main reason for that is Majora's Mask is probably the first Zelda game to actually be a scary game. And the top reason is Tingle.
So
Yeah.
again, is that a good
Yeah.
thing or a bad thing?
Introducing Tingle was a nightmare.
All right. And next.
All right. I'm going to speak to, I would probably consider them more a subgenre, but specifically the DS Zelda games of Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. And the reason I say this, I watch a lot of Kurt Indovina, and this speaks to some ideas that he was speaking on an episode of the Kurt Locker about handhelds, and how for a longer time now, consoles or home consoles have been more or less homogenous, with the exception of maybe like the Dreamcast, the Wii U. Okay, those provided some interesting experiences, but for the most part, it's, you know, you're a screen, a controller, okay? And there's certainly things that you can do on those that you can't do on a handheld. But for as much as we've gained in portable handhelds, what we're seeing now is they're becoming more and more homogeneous experiences, whereas those handhelds of old, okay, the DS, okay, created experiences, specifically in Zelda, that you just can't replicate anywhere else, okay? So the idea of kind of drawing the map, okay, for Phantom Hourglass, okay, with the stylus, okay? Or there's one part where you have to imprint, okay, and get the seal or whatever like that. So how do you do it? Okay, and you're like, holy shit.
Oh, and don't forget actually having
How do I do
to-
it? You close the book
literal-
and then open it back up, and then there's a point where you have to blow on the microphone. Okay?
Yeah, you have to
So
sit there and
those-
blow into your...
Yes,
The microphone decided to
yes.
work, yeah.
They just they lent themselves to creating such imaginative experiences in how you play the game, okay? And not just, let's face it, whenever the successor to the Switch comes out, they're going to port Breath of the Wild, and it's going to play better, okay? Same thing with Tears of the Kingdom, okay? And so, but they'll never, yes, we just had Castlevania Dominus Collection come out, and we've had Ghost Trick be ported, okay? And those things have been able to run, okay, on the Switch, but they still have yet to port those, and I don't know if they can.
Yeah.
I wonder, there was another game that had a lot of those. The DS was so cool for those puzzles, and was probably the only like 2D experience that I think meets like the kind of immersion you can, like that's so, you really do get like that perspective when you can close the book. Trace Memory was a
Yes.
game that heavily utilized these features on the 3DS, but it got a Switch port, and I haven't played it yet, but I'm wondering how, for anyone who's played this, I wonder how they dealt with those features.
Flower,
Anyways.
Sun, and Rain.
We have 5 minutes.
All right, we're going to go into lightning
Yeah.
round. We want to get through everybody that is remaining. So let's go ahead and go on here.
For Team 2D, I find that the worlds in general tend to be more full and complete. a lot of the worlds in the 3D games, they're very interesting and immersive at times, but in every 3D game, there's an experience you'll have where you just take a wrong turn around a corner and you're just in an empty space with a poorly textured wall, and you're kind of not meant to be there, and it makes you feel strange and awkward. In 2D games, you don't have this experience because the games are well put together, and they are fun to just walk around and explore and exist in.
Elias, I love your face.
I have
Great.
arguments for that, but don't have time.
We don't have time for arguments. Okay.
We don't, try and keep it to 30 seconds.
Amanda, I have one word for you that is only in 3D.
Okay.
And clearly it's on your mind because it was one of the trivia questions. Sidon.
Oh.
Does not exist in 2D?
Andrew Bosa.
Cheater.
So you're Sidon's fiance. How could you not be on Team 3D?
Aw.
The man is married. Leave him alone.
Well, that's okay. I have his body pillow.
There you go.
Out of the
I'm not
2D
kidding.
and 3D games I've seen, the 3D games tend to be more open world, and I find that's better.
More open world games on our end, yeah.
I'll give this to like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom.
We
Oh, right.
Okay.
Team 30, once again. The gameplay is more expressive, and they wear its inspirations more on the sleeve, aka Princess Mononoke and anything from Studio Ghibli.
So it's derivative.
Yeah,
Wait,
and
Connor.
yeah,
I don't
and
have time for
that's a good thing. It's not bad.
Team 3D. Basically, all of our playable representatives in Smash Bros. From Zelda are based on their 3D iterations.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, that's
a good,
Toon Link.
I gotta say that's a good argument.
And now
no,
I'm
Toon
really
Link
curious
started
to see
though with
pixelated.
Wind
Yeah, I want to
Waker.
see a 2D Smash.
Oh, that's true.
Like Steve from Minecraft.
Okay,
Smash.
this side.
I'm Team 3D. All the 3D games are harder, but more rewarding once you beat the dungeon, instead of being confused on how to get past this one stupid area in Water Temple.
All right.
We're not living that one down.
No.
Yeah, usually I'm Team 3D, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Next month, we're finally going to be able to point at the screen and say, yes, I am playing as Zelda.
My man.
All right.
Finally.
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 Our final person.
Yeah.
Got it. Team 2D, I think for me, it just goes to the fact that whenever I want to go back and play one of the previous Zelda games, I almost never think of the 3D ones just because they do take a lot of time. Whereas I just want to just play like the original Zelda or Link to the Past just because it's just something fun that I can do in a weekend. I think it's just, they're more easily replayable.
That is valid.
Replayability.
We did it.
All right, let's see if I can read through these really, really fast. Okay, so 2D.
Oh my God.
You know what? I
2
don't have time for
minutes?
this. We have 2 minutes to read all this. So 2D has cool animals and doesn't crash.
3D has Tingle.
3D has Tingle and Sidon and harder but more rewarding and more gameplay hours and cooking.
And it's
2D
better.
is complete and you can relax and play it, and sprite work is timeless. So we're gonna do a show of hands and cheers. So Team 2D, you're gonna cheer if you think that's the best. Woo! Team 3D, I want you to cheer if you think that's the best. You know what's funny is originally at the beginning of the panel, more people cheered for Team 2D, and now they're all like switching over to Team 3D.
I was going to say, I'm really happy we ended up with such a balanced argument. Like, the 3D fans, y'all clearly, like, started this whole panel, but then the 2D fans were like, no, we are here as well.
Yeah. This was really
2D fans
fun.
Came back.
This was great.
Everyone here showed up today, and you should all be proud of yourselves.
And of course,
Alrighty, everybody.
we all love all of the Zelda games anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
At the end
which
of the
one.
day, all Zelda games are winners.
That's right.
Hourglass, sorry.
And especially you
I
for
can't
beating
love you.
them.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so very much for joining us today. You can find us online. We are ZeldaUniverse.net. We are also on YouTube, Zelda Universe TV. We also have Zelda maps, so if you get lost in Zelda a lot like I do, that's where you want to go. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. That was fun. Good panel.